Bayern Munich were in crisis. A humiliating 5-1 defeat to Frankfurt had shattered their aura. The dressing room was fractured, the tactics broken. Then came Hansi Flick, an assistant coach with no top-level experience. Within months, he transformed chaos into dominance. But how? This is the story of the tactical revolution that didn't just save Bayern, it broke football forever. The 2019 season saw Bayern Munich looking like a shadow of their usual dominant selves.
Surviving at the moment, almost by default. Bayern don't want to be appearing too panicky, and I think they're almost starting to believe that this is a season that they'll have to write off, not just because of Kovac, but also because they underestimated the need to overhaul and freshen up the squad. It still might change when the likes of Tolisso and Coman and Alphonso Davies come in at the end of the year, but by and large, they underestimated Dortmund, they underestimated their own problems, and it's not going to be solved by just changing the manager. So I think Bayern, for once, will take a slightly more relaxed view and believe that the big change can only happen in the summer.
Under Niko Kovac, the team struggled with direction, their play becoming predictable and slow. Where opponents once feared Bayern's attacking power, they now found ways to contain them with relative ease. The criticism wasn't just coming from fans, media outlets openly questioned every aspect of the team's approach. Thomas Müller sat on the bench more often than not, watching as Bayern's attack lacked his trademark movement and creativity. Kovac preferred a rigid 4-3-3 system that left gaps opponents exploited regularly. The defensive line looked uncertain, conceding goals at an alarming rate compared to the previous season. Bayern's pressing game, once their hallmark, became disjointed and ineffective. The 5-1 loss to Frankfurt, that wasn't an isolated incident, it was symptomatic of deeper problems. Without coordinated pressing, opponents played through Bayern's lines too easily. The midfield couldn't control games like before, while the attack often appeared disconnected. Statistical measures of Bayern's pressing efficiency showed a dramatic drop, with fewer recoveries in dangerous areas. Dressing room tensions added to the problems. Reports suggest key players were unhappy with training methods and tactical instructions. Some felt Kovac didn't fully understand how to get the best from Bayern's squad. The club that prided itself on unity and professionalism suddenly looked vulnerable from multiple angles.
Coach has wielded the axe and he's dropped Boateng, Jerome Boateng, David Alaba, Thomas Müller, Ribery's out injured, so 4 changes from that draw against Ajax. You've got World Cup winners, all sorts on the bench there. I guess that's what happens at a club like Bayern.
From these struggles emerged puzzling team selections. Müller, a Bayern legend, played only half the available minutes despite being fully fit. The system didn't suit Lewandowski's strengths either, limiting his involvement in build-up play. Defenders found themselves exposed without proper protection from midfield. What made Bayern's decline more surprising was how quickly they fell from their usual standards. The same squad that dominated Bundesliga seasons suddenly looked ordinary. Tactical flexibility disappeared, replaced by a one-dimensional approach opponents studied and countered. As Bayern entered November 2019, they faced serious questions about their season. How had a team of this quality become so vulnerable? The answer lay not just in tactics, but in something more fundamental. They'd lost their Bayern identity. This wasn't just a poor run of form, but a crisis that demanded immediate action. The stage was set for change, but few could have predicted just how dramatic that change would be. With a club at the crossroads, they turned not to a star manager, but to an assistant coach with no top-level experience.
I don't. I mean, I genuinely, very rarely do I feel sorry when managers of top clubs get fired in general.
Hansi Flick's appointment as interim manager seemed like yet another questionable decision, until it wasn't. Flick's appointment as interim manager was meant to be temporary, just someone to steady the ship until a big-name replacement arrived. No one expected the assistant coach to become the solution, yet within weeks, Bayern looked like a different team. The first change was simplification. Out went Kovac's rigid tactical structure, replaced by fluid movement and clear responsibilities that players instantly understood. The man management surprised everyone. Critics doubted whether someone with no top-level coaching experience could handle Bayern's strong personalities, but Flick knew these players from his time as assistant. He immediately reinstated Müller as a starter, trusting the veteran's football intelligence despite his dip in form. This decision proved crucial. Suddenly, the attack had its connective tissue back. Lewandowski's game transformed too. Under Kovac, he'd often been isolated up front. Flick encouraged him to drop deeper and link play, using his technical ability as well as his finishing. The result was a more cohesive attacking unit, where wingers like Gnabry and Coman didn't just cross blindly, but combined with Müller and Lewandowski in tight spaces. Training sessions became more focused on pressing triggers, specific situations when the team should hunt the ball together. Within 4 weeks, Bayern's pressing success rate jumped from one of the Bundesliga's worst to one of its best. Their recoveries in the final third doubled, creating more dangerous counter-attacking opportunities. The stats told the story of Flick's instant impact. After the winter break, Bayern averaged over 15 shots per game, compared to 11 under Kovac. Expected goals per game rose sharply. Most telling, the number of high-intensity sprints increased dramatically, showing how Flick had restored the team's physical edge along with tactical clarity. This wasn't just better organization, it was a complete shift in playing identity. Where opponents had previously found Bayern predictable, they now faced waves of coordinated pressing, followed by rapid ball movement. The interim label quickly became irrelevant as results kept improving. Players publicly praised Flick's clarity in instructions and his ability to communicate tactical ideas simply. The most remarkable aspect was how quickly everything clicked. Within 2 months, Bayern went from crisis to looking unstoppable. Their 4-0 demolition of Dortmund in Der Klassiker showed the transformation was complete. This was now Flick's team, playing with an intensity and fluidity no one saw coming when he first took over. The coaching change that was supposed to be temporary had become permanent, because the results left no other choice. Flick's Bayern didn't just press, they strangled opponents systematically. Their pressing wasn't random aggression, but carefully designed traps triggered by specific opponent movements. When an opposing defender received the ball with his back to play, Bayern's nearest attacker would immediately close him down, while 2 others cut off passing lanes. This coordinated approach focused more turnovers than any other Bundesliga team. The secret lay in how Bayern converted defensive pressure into instant offense. Alphonso Davies clocked over 35 km per hour when sprinting from defensive recovery to attacking runs down the left flank. His pace turned recovery moments into scoring chances before opponents could reset. Joshua Kimmich anchored the midfield press, reading the game to intercept passes while maintaining positional discipline to prevent counterattacks. Statistics revealed Bayern's unique advantage in rapid transitions. They scored 23 goals within 10 seconds of winning possession, more than any club in Europe's top 5 leagues. This wasn't just about athleticism, it reflected intelligent positioning. Players didn't just chase the ball, they anticipated where it would go next. Müller's role proved especially clever, often abandoning his advanced position to help overload midfield pressing traps. Bayern adjusted their press based on each opponent's formation. Against teams building from a 4-2-3-1, they deployed a 4-2 pressing shape. When facing a 4-3-3 with a holding midfielder, they switched to a diamond formation. This adaptability prevented opponents from finding consistent passing outlets against the press. The high defensive line, seemingly risky, became Bayern's ultimate weapon. With Davies and Alaba's recovery speed plus Neuer's sweeping, they compressed the field effectively. Opponents attempting long balls over the top completed just 34% of such passes against Bayern, the lowest percentage in the Bundesliga that season. Midfield technicians like Thiago and Kimmich ensured recovered balls didn't go to waste. They ranked among the league's top progressive passers, turning intercepted passes into vertical attacks instantly. Müller's spatial awareness allowed him to consistently find pockets between lines during these transitions. Barcelona learned about these mechanisms the hard way. In the historic 8-2 Champions League demolition, Bayern's pressing forced 22 turnovers in Barcelona's half, their highest ever in a UCL match. Each recovered ball triggered lightning attacks toward isolated defenders. Davies' assist for the 5th goal exemplified the system perfectly. Press high, win clearly, attack before opponents can react.
We feel good. You can imagine, we feel good after this result, after this match. It was very special.
Before Flick arrived, Thomas Müller looked like a fading force, once Bayern's golden boy. The 2019-20 season saw him reduced to bench appearances under Kovac. Critics claimed he was limited, a system player who couldn't adapt to modern football. But Flick saw something different. He didn't just bring Müller back into the side, he rebuilt the entire attack around him. The Raumdeuter role existed before Flick, but never like this. Where Kovac tried to restrict Müller's movement, Flick gave him total freedom to drift between lines. Instead of occupying a fixed position, Müller became a roaming playmaker, constantly finding pockets of space defenders couldn't track. His heat maps, they showed him everywhere, dropping deep to link midfield, drifting wide to overload flanks, or darting into the box unnoticed. This freedom had a ripple effect across the attack. As defenders chased Müller, they left gaps for Lewandowski to exploit. Wingers like Gnabry and Coman found more 1v1 situations because Müller's movement dragged central defenders out of position. The stats proved it. Müller went from 6 assists in the entire 18-19 season to 21 the following year, the most in Europe's top leagues. Flick's system amplified Müller's best qualities. His signature blindside runs caused havoc when paired with Bayern's rapid ball circulation. Opponents couldn't decide whether to mark him tightly and leave space behind, or give him room to receive between lines. Either choice was dangerous. His football IQ shone brightest in pressing situations. Müller anticipated passing lanes before opponents even looked up. The numbers showed how vital he became. In just 23 Bundesliga games under Flick, Müller registered 17 assists while creating 3.2 chances per game, both career highs. His partnership with Lewandowski became Europe's most prolific, combining for 14 goal contributions in one season alone. What made Flick's use of Müller so effective was how it balanced structure and chaos. Bayern had clear attacking patterns, but Müller's movement within them kept defenses guessing. He wasn't just playing well, he was making everyone else play better. Wingers had more space, Lewandowski got clearer chances, and midfielders always had a passing outlet. This wasn't simply a player finding form, it was a manager recognizing how to weaponize a unique skill set. Where others saw limitations in Müller's unconventional style, Flick saw the key to unlocking Bayern's full potential. The Raumdeuter didn't just return, he became the system's beating heart. The 8-2 demolition of Barcelona wasn't just a Champions League result, it was a tactical execution from kickoff. Flick's Bayern implemented their press with surgical precision, hunting Barcelona's backline in coordinated packs. Whenever Ter Stegen passed it to a centre-back, 2 Bayern players converged, while others cut the passing lanes. This triggered 22 turnovers in Barcelona's half, more than any UCL match that season. Barcelona couldn't cope with Bayern's transitions. The 5th goal epitomized their struggles. Alphonso Davies recovered a loose ball near his box, then sprinted 70 yards past 4 defenders before squaring to Kimmich. The entire sequence, from tackle to goal, took 8 seconds. Davies reached speeds of 37 km per hour during that run, but speed alone didn't break Barcelona. It was the structure around him, Müller occupying centre-backs, Lewandowski pulling wide, that created the chaos. Statistically, Bayern's dominance was unprecedented. They generated 6.8 expected goals, their highest ever in a Champions League match. Their 80% pressing success rate meant Barcelona completed only 62% of passes in their own half. Every Bayern attacker scored or assisted, except Coman, who still created 3 chances. Even without possession, they controlled the game. The scoreline shocked observers, but the patterns were familiar. 3 goals came within 10 seconds of regaining possession, a trademark of Flick's system. Müller's opener followed their signature move, a winger cross to the penalty spot, where midfield runners arrived late. Perisic's attack came from Bayern's 7th player in the box, illustrating their numerical superiority in attacks. What made this performance different from other big wins was its completeness. Barcelona didn't just lose, they were systematically dismantled. Bayern exposed every weakness. Centre-backs uncomfortable under pressure, full-backs isolated against faster wingers, midfielders unable to track runners. By half-time, with Bayern leading 4-1, their substitutes were already analysing Barcelona's shape for further exploitation. This match wasn't an outlier, It capped a season where Bayern scored 43 Champions League goals, another competition record. They averaged a goal every 23 minutes in the tournament. Against Barcelona, they attempted 26 shots, despite having only 51% possession, proving efficiency mattered more than control. The aftermath reverberated beyond just one night. Barcelona fired their manager days later. Other clubs accelerated tactical overhauls to counter high-pressing systems, but, most tellingly, opponents now approached Bayern differently, some parking the bus, others trying to match their intensity. Neither approach worked consistently. Flick's blueprint, it had changed expectations for what elite football looked like. Flick's Bayern didn't just win trophies, they rewrote modern football's tactical playbook. Their high press became the benchmark, their attacking patterns studied worldwide. Clubs scrambled to copy their intensity, but none matched Bayern's perfect blend. Muller's intelligence, Davies' speed, Lewandowski's finishing, all amplified by Flick's system. The real legacy isn't in the titles, but how opponents reacted. Teams abandoned slow build-up, fearing Bayern-style pressing. Midfielders needed higher work rates, defenders faster recovery speeds. Yet, no one replicated Bayern's cohesion, that unique understanding between players who trusted both the system and each other. So, did they break football? Maybe. Or maybe they just showed how far tactics and trust can go when perfectly aligned.